Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a wild story for you. It all started on a lazy Tuesday in Gru's lab. Kevin, Stuart, and Bob were glued to the TV, watching giant robots smash, crash, and bash each other into bits. It was the Megabot Mashdown Championship! Their little yellow faces were filled with awe. Suddenly, Kevin leaped up, pointing a dramatic finger at the screen. Bello! We do that! Stuart strummed his ukulele in agreement. Hoka! Robot battle! And Bob, well, Bob just hugged his teddy bear. Tim, a little tighter, and squealed, Bot! 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 The decision was made. The minions were going to build a battle bot. Their first stop. The junkyard, of course. It was a paradise of possibilities. Kevin! The serious leader found an old, rusty washing machine. A-E-Chi-A. Tu-da-li-lo-ti. I-A-A-me. Oh! Perfect body, he declared. Stuart, ever the cool one, discovered a giant satellite dish. He balanced it on his head like a funky hat. Look at me! This would be their ultimate shield. Bob, meanwhile, was chasing a butterfly and stumbled upon the most important part of all, a giant, discarded blender. He peered inside, his one big eye widening. Ooh-ho! Speeny, Speeny. The ultimate weapon was found. They hauled their treasures back to the lab, a trail of clanking metal and cheerful bellow echoing behind them. Back in Gru's lab, the chaos began. They called their creation the Banananator. Kevin directed the assembly with a lot of pointing and important-sounding gibberish. They welded the blender to the top of the washing machine. Hoa! Zetto-ebi! A few sparks flew, singing Stuart's overalls, but he just laughed it off. They attached old lawnmower wheels, which were all different sizes, making the bot wobble like it had just eaten too much jelly. 4 arms. They used a pair of rusty rakes, perfect for grabbing. And for the final touch, Stuart painted a giant, silly face on the front, complete with a goofy, one-toothed grin. It was magnificent. It was ridiculous. It was the Banana. They all stood back, hands on their hips, admiring their wobbly, wonderful creation. Ta-da! They cheered in unison. The day of the Megabot Mashdown arrived. The arena was buzzing with excitement. Giant, scary-looking robots with names like the Pulverizer and Circus Shallot stomped around, looking very intimidating. Then, wobbling out from the tunnel, came the banana. The crowd fell silent for a moment, then burst into laughter. The other robot builders pointed and snickered, but the minions weren't fazed. Kevin gave a thumbs up, Stuart did a cool little dance, and Bob waved a tiny flag. They were ready. Their first opponent was a massive spiky robot called the Grinder. It charged forward, saw blades spinning menacingly. Things were about to get interesting. The bell rang, and the Grinder lunged. But the Banananator, with its wobbly wheels, zigged when it should have zagged. The Grinder missed completely and crashed into the wall. The minions cheered. Bello! Go! 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 Kevin yelled. Stuart, at the controls, pushed a big red button. The blender on top whirred to life with a deafening wheep. But instead of destruction, it started shooting out ... bananas. That's right! The minions had loaded it with their favorite snack. Slippery bananas flew everywhere, coating the arena floor. The Grinder tried to move, but its heavy treads just slipped and slipped. It spun around in circles like a confused ballerina before slipping on a peel and falling over with a loud clang. The Banananator had won its first match. The crowd went wild, not with awe, but with laughter and cheers for the silly banana-flinging robot. Match after match, the Banananator's chaotic strategy worked perfectly. A robot with giant hammers? Its hammers got tangled in the rake arms and it ended up hitting itself. Bonk. Bonk. A robot that breathed fire. Bob, using a fire extinguisher, accidentally sprayed the entire robot with foam, turning it into a giant, bubbly statue. The Bananator wasn't winning with power. It was winning with pure, unfiltered minion mayhem. The other teams couldn't predict what it would do next, mostly because the minions themselves had no idea what they were doing. They were just pushing buttons, pulling levers, and having the time of their lives. And with every victory, the crowd loved them more and more, chanting, "Bananator!" Finally, it was time for the championship match. Their opponent was the reigning champion, a sleek, black robot named It was twice their size, and armed with lasers, pinchers, and a very serious-looking demeanor. The minions gulped. This was the real deal. The bell rang, and Destructo Prime fired a laser beam. Zap. It singed the top of the Bananator. Kevin! And Bob panicked. They all started pushing buttons at once. The Bananator spun around wildly. Its raycoms flailed, the blender whirred, and the wobbly wheels wobbled faster than ever. It looked like a washing machine having a dance party. Destructo Prime paused, its optic sensors trying to make sense of the chaos. And in that moment of confusion, Stuart had an idea. He saw the main power cord for Destructo Prime snaking across the floor. He pointed frantically. "Bello! Bello!" Kevin understood. He steered the wobbling Bananator towards the cord. With one of its raycarms, it snagged the cable. Destructo Prime lunged forward, but it was too late. The Bananator gave a mighty tug. Poink! The plug popped out of the wall socket. Destructo Prime's lights flickered and went out. The giant, fearsome robot slumped over, completely powerless. There was a moment of stunned silence. And then the entire arena erupted! The minions had done it! The Bananator was the new Megabot Mashdown champion! The crowd poured into the ring, lifting the minions onto their shoulders. Confetti rained down. Kevin struck a heroic pose. Stuart played a victory song on his ukulele, and Bob, hugging Tim, just smiled his happy, innocent smile. They weren't the strongest, or the smartest, or the best built. They were just three little guys who, with a bit of teamwork and a whole lot of bananas, proved that sometimes the silliest ideas are the best ones. They returned to the lab not just as champions, but as heroes, ready for their next big, crazy adventure. What a ride. I hope you enjoyed the story of the Bananator as much as we did. It just goes to show that you do, Ian Ta, always have to be the biggest or the baddest to win. Sometimes, all you need is a good friend, a positive attitude, and maybe a blender full of bananas. Thanks so much for watching. If you had fun, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more fun stories. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.